Hey folks, I'm Jack and welcome back. If you missed the last video in this series, I'll link it below, but otherwise let's jump right into it. This will be our final product after the video, but let's start a new sketch. So very quickly, I'm going to change the dimensions to inner width and inner height, and I'm going to move this call to background to setup. I also changed the color to white, which is 255. I breezed over for loops in the last video, but what you need to know about them is that they have a start, a stop, and a step, and they go in that order. So I want to loop over the x coordinates from left to right. So what I'm going to do is start x at 0 and stop x when it gets to width and step by a number. I'm going to make a variable for this number called grid size, and I'm going to choose it to be 50. So there's our loop. You'll notice the keyword for and the start, the stop, and the step are separated by semicolons. So this will run the code inside of the loop for every increment of 50 from 0 to the width. If we set a y coordinate to be equal to height over 2, and we'll call this yo for y origin, we'll get the points across the center of the screen. Using this x and y, we'll draw a line. And we'll draw it from the last x and the last y that we were at to our current x and a current y. So a lot of these variables don't exist yet, and we will be making them right now. So first, let's keep track of the last x and the last y that we were at. So last x we can set to 0, and last y we can set to be the y origin. And I'm good. For the current y, we'll also declare a variable called y, and we'll set this equal to the y origin plus a random number times our grid size. Random is from 0 to 1, and multiplying that by the grid size will give us a number from 0 to grid size. This is declared inside of the loop because we're only using it there. What we also can do is set last x equal to x and last y equal to y at the end of our loop, so that way they're kept track of for the next iteration. And if we run this, we get a random line. One trick I'm going to do is actually set last x initially to negative grid size and add grid size to our maximum value. And this allows the line to go off the edges of the screen. With a random height for each point, the line can be a bit chaotic, so we're going to replace random with a function called noise. Noise takes two parameters, the x and y coordinate. So these are not the x and y coordinate of the canvas, but for now we can actually put those in. So noise of x and y origin. And normally when you're using noise, you will scale down the input. So for now, I'm going to multiply x and y origin by 0.01. That will scale down the change in the coordinates we're putting into noise, which in turn makes the changes in noise more gradual. Noise gives you a random number, but it depends on the coordinates you give it, so you can gradually change it over time. In our final product though, the line was moving. To be able to update the line every frame, I'm going to move this code into the draw function. You'll notice that nothing changes though. That's because noise called on the same coordinates will always give the same value. But what we can do is add a third coordinate, so this would be the z coordinate, into the noise function. And what we'll do is give it frame count as this parameter, and we'll also scale that down. P5.js has a built-in variable called frame count, which is the number of times draw has been called. So this will increase over time and will change the coordinate that we're putting into noise. Something to note is that we're calling background inside of draw. What this means is that we're clearing what we've drawn last frame and drawing something new this frame. So in the last video, we were not doing this and we were building up all of the different circles that we were drawing. But this video, we are changing to every frame and clearing what we had last frame. To get multiple lines in this sketch, I'm going to loop over the y coordinates as well. So instead of declaring y origin like that, I'm going to put it in a for loop and start y origin at 0, have y origin stop at height plus grid size, and step y origin by grid size. I'm going to put the code that we wrote before inside of this for loop so that at each y origin we are drawing one of these lines. In the final product, we had the lines starting orderly at the top left and then becoming more distorted as they get to the bottom right. So to achieve this, what I'm going to do is multiply the height that we're changing our y by x over width, and also by y origin over height. So what this does is each of these is the proportion of the x coordinate from 0 to width, and then y origin to height. So this will get up to 1 when it is in the bottom right for each one, and what effectively it gives us the effect of becoming more distorted as it gets to the bottom right. And with that, we're done. I know this video was a bit more complicated than last, so definitely check out other resources like the coding train if you get stuck. There's also a live workshop to review this material. It's on November 19th, and I'll link it below. But with that, thanks for watching, and have a good one.